So, welcome to another video of the live transmission. Now we have silver Phoebus layer again, and we have to show you that silver Phoebus layer will tell you all the secrets for all those silverbacks out there, all those who want to learn and want to know the secret silver Phoebus layer is here for you. So this character is like an alter ego. It was a way to show some respect to the charts. So now we're going to show you all the characters, and welcome to another live transmission. Tonight we are going to show you the pattern that I saw, and we warned about the Bitcoin crash, or the Bitcoin top 20 days in advance. Also about the silver Phoebus layer warnings made on Reddit, on everywhere. We're going to talk about special info, very new now, very new information that we are receiving this week, and we're going to show you the charts and what is to come. So the silver Phoebus layer were created to create consciousness that it was very risky scenario. So we started warning on Reddit, on YouTube, on Twitter, and people were screaming with comics, inventories, on all those stuff that don't work. It's not working, guys. So if you are already hanging out there, you know that it's not working. All your systems were failing because what is working is following the prices. So we warn in advance the Bitcoin high 20 days in advance. I show you now how what was the formula, and also we warned that the silver was going to get weaker and weaker from January, from February, and now we have silver for 25, close to 26. We are going to show you all the information we got about Bitcoin and all other information. So let's start with this game. Let's go now to show you the charts. How did I predict the high of Bitcoin? Quickly, if you check this level here, which is 10,900, it was the movement sideways. And if you go to this video made here on January 28, we warned about the Bitcoin for 57k the high, and now we are showing quickly the charts as a recap. This video was made, all the silver warnings and the fake silver shortage video was made here, the fake silver shortage, the silver market opening, silver shortage warnings, and even a concert made to the public when silver was way up high around 28. A live concert, you can watch it again here on February 28. We now are 12 days later and silver is way below those levels. So the warning was made very efficiently, and the warning was made to allow people to see that all those stories about comics, deliveries and blah blah was not working. What works are the system, are the charts. So now we're going to explain you how I saw the Bitcoin high 20 days in advance again. So we have here a level which is 10,800, and the movement Bitcoin made in 2020, and the retracement up to 28 level created a number here that allow me to multiply this difference between this retracement level and the place where it moved. All this movement is calculated as 261. This is a Fibonacci number. So I added this number and multiplied it by different Fibonacci numbers. And this difference between 28 we see now. You have 28,400, see less 10,834. You have that number, which is multiplied by a Fibonacci number 261, and added the level and voila, that is the magic. You have the Bitcoin have 20 days in advance, 57k. So I multiply this difference for the Fibonacci number extension and add it back. So I'm showing you my magic now, revealing, which I saw live but 20 days in advance here. You can watch it, big fishes, you can watch the video again. This is a live transmission. Bitcoin could target 57k this year. Live transmission. It was made on January 28. That was the first secret of the first chart. That allowed me to know that on January 28 Bitcoin was going to make a high, and it made it on 21 February, 20 days later. This is the magic. Oh, great stuff. Good news, Suryak. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much. You are my favorite subscriber now, man. I will have you in my prayers, and I will have you forever. So now, listen to me. You are paying attention to the Silver Fever Slayer. What the Silver Slayer tell you? Don't be an ape. I went ape because I want to be part of the community. I even donated to their billboard. They are already there. So if you are listening, Wall Street Silver, Arcadia, I am on your side. But I have to be someone in the silver community has to kill the Silver Fever and tell you the chart as all the charts and all the trends are it is. So someone in the Silver Fever community should say the truth. If the charts are going up, yeah, I'm going to say. If the charts are going down, I'm going to be the Silver Fever Slayer. And that is what happened. I made this character to kill the Silver Fever Slayer and creating a new character in the silver community, in the silverback community. So I am a silverback, but I'm not a Silver Fever. I am not an ape, but I'm showing the ape because I understood the words of my spiritual mentor. We are seeing now a silver movement is a spiritual movement asking for the energy of humans from stopping parasiting. So the silver, so I apologize for being so rude, and because their sacrifices, buying very expensive silver was a sacrifice made to make a point to the rest of mankind. This is the silverback community, the silver short squeeze movement. I remember the words of my spiritual teacher and mentor, and I figured out all in my mind. They were sacrificing their energy, their money, paying silver for 28, 30, and they are paying a billboard to increase awareness that we are in a society with parasitic monetary system. So their sacrifice is very honorable for me. I didn't understand it, but now I do. So I apologize. And when I did understand this, I made a tiny donation to the Silver Short Squeeze billboard people, because there is an awakening process globally happening in the medicine sector, whistleblowers. We have also scientists standing up. We have people talking. We have people saying enough is enough. And the 1%, the tiny percent, is listening and watching the 99%, and the silver squeeze with their billboards. I helped them. I made the donation because I wanted to be part of that spiritual movement. They were going to lose money. I warned them in advance. All of them. They are now gathering in other YouTube channels and talking about systems, talking about contango, backwardation, COMEX deliveries, silver industrial use, or all the stuff with no real system to make money in the short term. All the stories, the future silver use, the silver deficit, the COMEX default, all the old story, the same stories mentioned. So now I'm going to talk soon about the silver, how I warned them in advance. So this is the high, this is the formula behind Bitcoin. What I'm watching now is that everything is stopped in very critical levels. So now I'm going to talk about Bitcoin again. and I'm going to reveal information not found. So Surya, if you are there, ask me everything you want, because you are a privilege. I'm honored to have you here. So I met one of the insiders in the industry when I was 19 years. So this was at the top of the Nasdaq bubble. This is Argentina. So I met one of the Bitcoin insiders now. So I met a high executive of the Xapo wallet. This was in 1999, and they were in control. They were controlling a fintech company called Patagon, and it was an Argentinian company that was sold at the top of the Nasdaq. At the top of the Nasdaq, that was March of 2000, and the guy I'm talking about is a Elliott Wave technical analyst. He's very good and famous in Argentina, and he's a very famous Bitcoin analyst in the country. So this guy he was in the company, and he sold the owner. The owner is a very famous Argentinian guy, and this company controls around 7% of the Bitcoin total supply. The company is called Xapo. Okay, so let me help you here. Let me help you to understand here that this company controls 7% of the Bitcoin world supply. So this is the owner of a investment brokerage house website.com called Patagon, and he sold this company for 500 million US dollars on 2002 Banco Santander. He sold his company in the top, and he moved to Bitcoin. These guys are bubble surfers, riders from down to up, all the way to the top. So these guys know in advance lots of stuff. And this guy, Wenceslao Casares, the boss of the guy I met, the executive I met when I was 19, and I talked with him recently via phone. This guy is saying that Bitcoin is going to $1 million in 2028. This is one of the Argentina most important entrepreneurs and the key player of Bitcoin. This is a guy who is mentioned to he actually convinced Bill Gates and various other personalities to invest in cryptocurrencies. An Argentinian guy. Imagine, we are having 20, 30 and now 40% inflation. Imagine. I guess if we don't know about inflation and monetary system, because we deal with these subjects every year. Now we are having between 30 and 40% inflation minimum. We are in an increasing trend, and the world soon will be in increasing trend. The inflation will be 50% higher. In Europe, from 1% to 1.50. It's nothing, but inflation is pressuring now. Maybe we'll be under control. So now let's stay with the story, because it's very interesting. So the guy I met, he's a technical analyst. This is the Xapo convention, and the guy I met is this guy, and I talked with him by phone. And this guy said that Bitcoin is going to 300,000 in a few years. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, but I asked him 2 questions. This is what I'm going to reveal now. I asked him 2 questions. Question number 1: can the Federal Reserve and governments ban and destroy Bitcoin? He said categorically no. And I asked him the second question: can Bitcoin be removed from the 21 million total supply limit? And he said categorically no. So I know that if the governments go after Bitcoin, and this is when they sold for 528 million US dollars, Let me check here on, and let's say that you attack Bitcoin by the government. What happened in Nigeria? The Bitcoin got 30% premiums above the spot. So if the government, all those governments start to attack Bitcoin, it's going to be a black market for Bitcoin. It's going to get to the black market. And the same story happened in Argentina, where Argentina banned the possibility of purchase of US dollars for savings. With a black market was developed, and it's not recognized by the government. By the spread between the black market and the official rate went as high as 100%. So we know the story. When governments step in and start to ban things, the black market will take care of the new price, and the new price discovery will happen, maybe with Bitcoin too. So very difficult to understand what's going to happen, because the BIS, the central bank or central bank, is very busy doing gold swaps, as the people in the Gold Anti-Trust Action Committee is revealing, and they are also in moving with other precious metal businesses like platinum, silver, and other business that didn't do in the past. So it's very strange why the BIS is actively moving increasingly in multiple precious metals which are not essentially monetary. So we are seeing stronger cooperation for controlling in the precious metal markets. This is real, and this is what you can see checking the BIS official statistics. This is real. They are more active. So we have the leverage, and the price of Bitcoin went from 57k in daily charts to 44, and this is in daily charts. If you check the daily charts, not taking the weekends, we saw the high 57k just as the formula was promised, and it went down up to 44. So a quick rejection of this. This is very bullish for the long term, but for now all the prices are stopped. So I kept talking about my story about this guy. Maybe it's time to analyze that the United States is very busy sending paychecks to everybody. Check what is happening with the US federal debt. Is going vertical for the first time. So this is time to stay alert. So we have a deleverage movement, very difficult, very scary, because Bitcoin lost 200 billion US dollars. So we don't know who lost money. How was the real exposure multiplied by leverage? So this was one of the reasons why I was making the warnings, thanks to this character, the civil fever slave, because we were not really sure what was going to happen with that punishment in the precious metal and the crypto market. So now we have a new news that everybody is fully vaccinated now, and maybe a recovery, or maybe second waves or third waves are going to get hit. So we have black swans out there. The Brazil variant is really, I'm seeing that the Brazil variant has the double of the average death. Now we have a new high here in Brazil with 2,000 deaths per day, and the average was around 1,000. So maybe this is not about infected cases, this is about daily deaths. So maybe we have a new wave which will put deflationary pressures in this crazy environment. So all the people is heading for the inflation trade, and maybe we get back in big slap like March of 2020, when crude oil went below zero on the May contracts, on the May futures contract. So you have to be aware of that, and with patience, because there are lots of black swans in the air. Also the cybersecurity risk, and maybe a cybersecurity cold war is behind the scenes now between Russia, China and United States. Or maybe the need of a cybersecurity crisis that will dwarf the COVID crisis, just as some think tanks have been profiting in the few months. So maybe it's time to listen in that black swans could be out there, and you have to be, at least with respect to the charts. That's what Silver Figures Layer is here. This is the final presentation. So let's go back to Carlos Maslaton, who is one of my contacts. I have very few contacts in my life with him, and he said 300,000 Bitcoin. And he replied me, and he said that Bitcoin for 9,000 was an opportunity. It was last year. I believe that the reaction in the Bitcoin and the total rejection of a tiny and healthy correction is a very warning sign that inflation is coming the way. So this guy saw this guy, and Wenceslao Casares, he was an employee from that company. I was there. I had 19 years old, and I saw it with my eyes when they sold the company right at the top of the Nasdaq. At that moment, it was my first bubble. I was 19. It was a show, and I was in the front. I was a kid, 19 years old, and I visited the company Patagon, which was a brokerage house, and they saw the company, and then Alan Greenspan came in the same month and said, it was in February, I think, he said, irrational exuberance. He was destroying the Nasdaq bubble, the high-tech bubble, and all the technological companies, the tech companies, the tech stocks like Google, Facebook, all went crashed on that year and the next year. So it took up to 2013 to get the same level in the Nasdaq. Around 2000, the next year, Wenceslao Casares, the guy who convinced Bill Gates to invest in Bitcoin, created Sapo. And Carlos Maslaton, who is a technical analyst, is showing this company as a treasurer of this company. So I exchanged with him some messages, and I thank you for his replies. So he's very bullish for the long term, and I respect him because they are bubble riders. And according to some media, his boss convinced Bill Gates of investing in cryptocurrencies. So now we have Nasdaq, which is in a high. It's showing that the market is not convinced, because the market is scared that a potential escape of inflation will take down all these expensive stocks. The truth is that expensive and risky stuff is the negative territory bond bubble which is out there, so the people will escape. Cryptocurrencies and NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, are the first signals that we have people escaping from the US dollar. So now we are in inflation wave, but I believe some black swans may be used to contain inflationary pressures, or maybe they will manifest those black swans full of deflation. So we have to be very careful with these waves. So you have all those silver backstackers that we claim that silver will protect you from inflation. That's false, but maybe they will be right this time in the future. From now to 2024, they were wrong in the past. They were wrong stacking from silver 30. That the reality is that United States and the new administration is going to print a lot of money, and according to what we are seeing in the charts are all waking up to inflationary signals in the future. So we have silver. Check, this is how we predicted the high of silver and the incoming silver crash warned on YouTube, live transmissions on Reddit. Let's make it a quick recap. So you see this pattern now, this pattern 2021, we have a crazy run up here and a WB formation, and again a test like escape or a bullish trap. I call them needles to this pattern, and a retracement or a tiny correction here. And check what happened, as I said, in 2011 when there was the same behavior, the fanatical same behavior. You see but this is a chart of the Silver Liberation Army. So you have the same craziness, the punishment, and again, and the massive crash. So we have here the same pattern made at the height of the fever in 2011, and we have now going back to 2021, and you see here, if you are bit, you will see up to here the same pattern here of fever around here, but the pattern behaved and completed very fast. So you have to be very careful with silver, because I believe it could go down to 21, but I don't care. I'm buying specific silver coins, I restack, and maybe we get silver for $100. So this guy Carlos Marlaton sent a tweet recently. This is a new information. This famous technical analyst said that gold could go to $10,000, and if you respect the relationship between the gold and silver ratio, maybe we get $100 in a few years for silver. I don't think so, but this is the guy who is a serial bubble rider, all the way to the up, all the way to the top, all the way down. This is a very guy I respect, and he also warned in advance the price of the black market US dollar in Argentina. So I respect the guy. He's very bullish. I am bullish too for silver, but I don't know what's going to happen with all these black swans and lockdowns, cybersecurity threats by think tanks, and also we have bearish pattern, which is not completed in my point of view, but we have strong rejections to go down. So now we have crude oil stop at a very critical level. We have gold, which is still, in my opinion, in a bearish pattern. This is a monthly chart, and it could go down a bit more. I don't think the correction is over, but it is sending signals of strength at very high levels. This means that we will see even higher prices for me in the next year. So we are interested in the importance purchases in very high. In other years, the demand was away, and the price of gold crashed through all those technical supports. Now we are seeing strength and fights every single level in silver, in gold. This is inflationary for me. This is inflationary. So I'm not convinced that we have to get ready, because there is a lot of fight all the way. so you don't have to get caught with all these short-term fights. If you check the price of cotton, this is testing critical levels too, like crude oil. The price of cotton is around 96 and is fighting a very long resistance that was tested through the years. So we have around this level around here. I will make a high here. Let me see. This is a high of 2018 and we are testing and rejecting that level. So we are in a very important levels in multiple commodities. If these levels are broken, we are going to see runaway inflation. So now we have a crazy runaway in food prices, as we warned in the past on this channel. If you check one of the first videos, we talk about lumber, which exploded. We talk about the food prices, was one of the first videos, which was called Operation Dark Winter, and food prices analyzed by Gold Trader on November, and we were warning about increasing food prices. With very conspiracy theories side of the story, but charts were very interesting and it happened. Everything happened. The gold hammer of November, and everything happened. All the charts succeeded in this channel, warning short-term trends in advance. So this is a very respectful ideas, and we are being sharing it because this is not investment financial advice only. We are showing you the charts on educational purpose. So now we are going to tell you more charts. So now we have soy, corn and food prices all exploding, but being stopped in very critical levels for days and days. And one of the things that makes me think why everything is getting stopped now. Why everything is getting stopped? I don't know. But the charts are saying, oh, let's wait. Let's wait with crude oil, let's wait with silver, let's wait with food prices, all in a wait mode. What are they waiting? So the silver fuels layer was here, and we warned them in advance, all on Twitter, that all the stories of the silver international experts that will tell you silver COMEX deliveries, or the COT report, or maybe they will tell you about the silver industrial use, that the technology is there, that there are deficits, there are premiums, there is backwardation, all the stories, beautiful words. They cannot predict prices. They are saying the same story that was said in 2011. Silver shortage, COMEX deliveries, blah blah blah. Now, what if we have secret technologies? What if we have secret gold reserves? Maybe, as the World Bank whistleblower told me, 100,000 tons of gold hidden in secret vaults by the government. What happens if we have much more gold brought here by ancient races or ancient civilizations? Maybe, like the World Bank whistleblower told me, maybe she's crazy, maybe she has some information. What if there is much more gold that we believe there is out there? So if there is an inflationary pressures, what do you want to buy? A commodity with unknown world reserves like gold and silver, or you want to buy something that has 21 million units tops, or you want to buy a stock that has a limited supply of units versus a cheap commodity with unknown world statistics. So this is the from the fundamental point of view, if you believe in the statistics, you could go for silver. But I don't believe in world international statistics, and I haven't seen one single fundamental analyst making money in the short term, on the long term, making trades and taking trades with fundamental information from the precious metal market. So I don't believe anything. So I was presented with evidence that the amount of gold was multiple times the number of the world gold known reserves. What should I do with that? It was fake news, because the World Bank confirmed that this lady I interviewed in the past was an employee from that institution. She was an employee and she warned me about international gold reserves. So the price of gold and the price of silver are tied together, and we have a limited amount supply of stocks like GameStop, limited amount supply of cryptos like Bitcoin, 21 million tops, but we have thousands of gold reserves hidden in central banks that could be used for international intervention of the precious metal market. So if the price of gold and silver starts to go up because we are in inflationary pressures, I don't believe gold and silver will win the race. Maybe other assets like crypto, like penny stocks or whatever will win. The NFTs will win the race. I don't think gold will win the race in the inflationary. Maybe food prices will have their stellar moment in a few years, and according to the charts, they are already with the best candidates, the food prices. But I'm not sure. The monetary excuse that money will run for gold and silver is not real, because all those investment funds need to show income in their charts. So maybe that money, if you want to invest, if you believe that the price of gold will explode in the next few years, the companies and the investment funds will be forced to buy. If they want to play the gold trade, they will buy the mining companies paying dividends, and they will say, hey, we bought a company that pays 1%, so we can add this company. According to our prospectus, we are forced to bring income to our shareholders, and this company will bring income. But if they can't buy a gold bar because it's a shiny rock stuck in a vault, so you can't say to the shareholder, say this bar will give you income. But maybe you can say that with a gold mining company. So maybe we see if gold price is going up on overshooting of the gold mining companies should the inflationary pressures are not contained. But governments are really very active, and central banks are warning that they will allow a bit more on inflation, but not too much. So they have lots of tools to keep inflation in control. Just yet they can keep control on the inflationary pressures. So we have this interesting information that I'm going to monitor the price of cotton as a signal that we are going to see more inflation out of control. From now, everything is contained, and I'm warning that we have a Brazil variant. I don't know which is, if the number is real or not, but the statistics of dead people is there, the double of the average death in 2020. Will this be a new wave? Some sources are saying that they will establish new lockdowns in the United States and in Argentina in the next few weeks or months, because we are going to see maybe a new interest a new wave, or maybe we're going to see the intention to keep control of the economy, and one way to control inflation is destroying the economy with lockdowns. I don't know if that is the economic engineering, but could be one of the explanations. I don't know, that would be very evil, but maybe it's one of the explanations why forcing the economy to stop. This is very contradictory. Maybe it's not really in the good of those establishing those policies. So cotton for me is like a way to know if we are going to see more inflation out of control. This pattern here, which is W, if confirmed, it means also that we're going to see escape of the prices. So we have this chart. Corn is also showing explosion, and maybe contains situations of all commodities are in a waiting zone. Now. This is the same story for soybeans. We have here a waiting zone. What is the most risky assets? The riskiest assets are sovereign bonds paying negative rates. This will be very dangerous, and central banks maybe could enter negative territory even further to contain the crisis. Will be inflationary. Yes. So people will start to move, and there is going to be, if things go out of control from the inflationary pressures, and I think inflation will win, because the confidence will be destroyed, because the United States is doing everything in their power to create a loss in the confidence of the US government. They are giving a bad example on the United States is continually reducing its reputation with the change of 108-degree turn in the international politics and policies, and the US dollar will be in trouble, and they have some resources like creating black swan events that will contain the unstoppable inflationary pressures building now. So zero figures layer is here for the final and for the last time. Say, keep your mind cold. Don't catch a silver fever, because we proved in advance we were right multiple times with Bitcoin high 20 days in advance, warning the people on Reddit, on Twitter, on YouTube, live transmission that silver 30 was the top, and we were in advance the silver top in advance in the middle of the silver short squeeze. We said the price of silver could go up to live when the market was opening. We have like 300 followers following the live transmission, and we said here the price of silver, if the price was around 28, and we said the price of silver could go up to 30, and that was the high of the month. And later we said stop the silver fever, stop, and we even made a concert, and after that concert the price of silver kept going down. So we have to keep a cold mind. People are going to rush for NFTs, most likely the rich people and the smart people. Christie is behind that business. I found out that Christie is behind that business. So lots of opportunities are being created now. So what will happen to the cryptocurrencies on gold? Gold, it looks it's in the middle of a fight, and they fight at the very high levels, but I believe it could keep going down. Maybe it's very possible that it keeps going down according to the charts, but there is a lot of resistance, so we have to wait. But I keep stacking specific silver coin I'm holding to remove it from the market. This is my strategy, a tiny strategy. I don't believe that precious metals will be the stellar actors in the inflationary trade. I don't believe so, because there is a lot of European gold reserves, a lot of United States gold reserves at disposal of politicians to keep the price under control. So I'm not sure that precious metal will be the best way, the best vehicle to protect from inflation, because it's false. The price of silver is fighting to go above the level it was in 2013. So it's still fighting there, and that level was also in 2010. So if you bought silver in 2010, you weren't protected from inflation at all. You are still fighting to get the prices of 2010. So you were stuck with a shiny rock for 10 years. This is the truth. So the silver figures layer proved in advance that they are now going to make a billboard that says protect from inflation, buy silver. And you see the chart up here, I am not protected by inflation if I bought silver in 2010, but I'm spiritually on their side. I believe what they are trying to say to the world, and I'm honored by them. That's why I made a tiny donation. Is we don't like the monetary system. The monetary system is a tool, and the money is a tool that represents human energy being transferred. So this silver short squeeze movement is like Anonymous, is like whistleblowers, is like an awakening process, a spiritual movement saying we don't want this parasitic system in the human energy transfer system. So wealth manifestation, abundance manifestation will happen if we stop the parasitic behaviors in the monetary system. And if mankind evolves enough, the destruction and the abolition of money is a consequence of that. So I understand the sacrifice and what they are doing, but they are saying you will get protected by inflation. Well, look at the chart. If I buy silver at 2010, I'm not protected. The same for gold. Gold is not a hedge against inflation or deflation. Gold is a hedge against your government, and you have to keep some gold just in case you have an emergency. And you have to have a percentage of your portfolio in tangible assets like silver, which will be a hedge against your government, but not against inflation. You have the chart there. You are not protected by inflation. Sorry. You were stuck with a shiny bar for 10 years. So enough is enough. Let's say the people the right thing. When silver is low and you are entering inflationary pressures cycle, then you buy silver. And you pray to the Lord that they will not crush it down with gold reserves used against just as God, I would say. So you have to be very respectful to the charts, and the charts in the gold prices are saying I could go lower, maybe $50 per ounce, even lower, $50 more down, and maybe we can find between $100 lower or 50 the definitive low in gold. This is in the game. The 1500 level is a real. The 1600 level also is in the charts. So we don't know where will be the lows. So this is all the information I've had we have a rejection the Bitcoin, we show the patterns, we show the trends, and it's time to be respectful. I believe that the opportunity will be there, but not now, because we have to be very careful. We saw rejection, the leverage, and all the commodities are being stopped now, expecting who knows what. I don't really know what's going on now. So the crystal balls are the charts, are something that they turn up and they're turned down, in my case, like a crystal ball that with specific star alignments will give you signals that will share with you for free in this channel. So if you like this transmission, please subscribe, like below, because it's the food of all the YouTubers. Suryak, if you are there, you can make all the comments, questions you want, dear friend. This is very important because nobody saw the Bitcoin high 20 days in advance. We could do it thanks to 20 years of sacrifice, watching the charts, and made tiny profits from it. So we are sharing this free information, and the Silver Fever layer was here just to keep the mind cool, because this is all we have now. We have to be very careful. If there is no questions, this transmission will end, and also Silver Fever layer will not be here anymore. It was needed, but the Silver Fever layer completed the mission that was needed to stop the madness in the Silver Fever and the Silverback community. So I thank you very much. I hope you enjoy all the information we share with you. Stay alert, because if the price of Bitcoin keeps going up, it could explode at least to 55k very quickly, 65k very quickly, if it goes above its current high. But I believe that maybe they will punish Bitcoin. Bitcoin has to prove, and this level is being under intense fight now. So everybody is fighting now, and I don't want to know the answer. I'm out of the market now, watching the charts. Silver Fever Lay gave you all the warnings in advance. So I hope you enjoy this channel. Please subscribe, please comment below, and like this video. Thank you very much, and good night. If you don't have any questions, then good night. Bye bye.